Good evening, and it's an honor to be invited onto PBS's Austin City Limits. So let me tell you guys about myself. I, Eric Patrick Clapton, was born in 1945 in a small flat in Ripley, England. But my 16-year-old mom left me to my grandparents, so I grew up thinking that they were my parents. I was as every kid. I went to school and played with my friends until my grandparents told me everything. I became distant, and that's where I found the blues, and I was hooked. Robert Johnson and Muddy Waters were my idols. So I begged and begged for a guitar, and my grandparents finally got me one. I was accepted into Kingston Art School, and that's where I went to my first pub. I woke up one night in the middle of the woods in a pile of my own vomit with no money, and I wanted to do it all over again. I loved the rush. I considered myself a fine artist, but I got no work done. I was too busy in pubs or playing the guitar, or both at the same time. Then I was invited to my first real band, the Yardbirds, and I took off from there. I went from band to band until I was kicked out of art school for not getting any work done. I moved back to my grandparents' house and worked for my grandpa in construction. I got back into music and made a career out of it, touring with John Mayall and the Blues Breakers. That's when I hit it big. People started writing Clapton is God all over London. So I formed Cream with two of my buddies, and we took off on American and European tours. I got to play with some of my idols, but I was introduced to dope, and I loved it. I can't remember a time back then I wasn't high. I continued on with Cream, but we broke up. It just stopped being about the music. I went into my solo career and got deeper and deeper into drugs. I became addicted to heroin. That's when, in 1979, I married Patty Boyd, my good friend George Harrison's ex. I went through a rehab before Narcotics Anonymous, but only replaced drugs with alcohol. I continued on my solo career, but fostered other children while touring, so she divorced me. I went into deep depression and drinking. I was commanded by my friends to join Alcoholics Anonymous and do the 12-step program. I've been sober ever since. I re-emerged onto the music scene only to be devastated by the death of my 2-year-old son, Connor, in 1991. I finished my new album Unplugged, but badly damaged. Then in 1998, I opened up my own alcohol and drug rehab center in Antigua. I met my love, Malai McHenry, and we got married in 2001. I'm the happiest I ever have been. Thanks for having me.